if right now I give you a picture of the little Chelsea, what do you want to tell her, to that little Chelsea? Do you think in some point this little girl could imagine that the woman that you are right now? What you can tell her?
Yeah, what would I tell her? I guess I actually live from her, to be honest with you, just because now that I'm raising a little girl, and I don't know, I always wonder if this is a good place or this is just a good place or a bad place, but like, I always lived from the little Chelcie who just wanted to have fun. And so that's how I kind of like parent my daughter, is just like from a place of what little Chelcie desired as a little girl that she didn't get. So for example, I'm really big on like using moments as like joy and fun with my daughter, but also to be honest with her too. I think sometimes I can be hard on myself because I'm such a like for example, one thing for her is like she thinks everyone has a dad, or she thinks everyone has it perfect when it comes to that part. And I try not to, you know, control that situation. But I also show my daughter, like for example, like if we're at a park and you see that there's a dad in the picture, or if she knows, like I know one time she had an encounter with one of her little friends who they had to go visit their mom. And so I use those moments to remind her, not to like, oh look, they don't have it perfect, but to show her that her journey is just perfect for her. Right? And unfortunately, I'm part of why her journey is the way it is. Okay. I never take that for granted. But I also show her that yes, some people may have a parent, but may have a parent and a mom and a dad, but it doesn't mean that it's good. Maybe it is good. Maybe it's not good. Or maybe that they only have their mother, or they only have their father. But in the midst of that, you can find joy in your journey and not so much resent your journey. Because I think as we get older in our lives, we think that everyone has it better, or we think that we're the only one dealing with it. But when we can truly find joy in our journey and not feel like it's like, oh, we're missing out, we can actually experience what God is trying to show us. But again, I don't take for granted the simple fact of where I play in when it comes to why I am I guess in this situation. I was very young when I had Eva, so there's some things I just didn't know any better. But now that I had to make very hard decisions concerning raising my child, and that's why I can have grace with my parents, because I can see how hard it can be, right? You're thinking you're doing things right, but little do you know, because of your brokenness, you're making a choice that may affect long before, way more than you can ever imagine, right? And so I try to always live from little Chelcie, what little Chelcie desired, but not from a place of like not paying attention with my daughter, because I'm not saying my daughter is like me, but I also pay attention to that little voice, right? That little Eva, that little, how, you know, her personality, how she loves to explore, and how she has a heart of kindness. And I don't know, I had a little bit of heart of kindness, but I wasn't as sensitive as she is. But I always pay attention to the little details, and that's one thing I have been gifted with, or I'm just more conscious than a lot of others, is just paying attention to people's desires or what their heart really wants.
Do you think that right now you're following your dreams? Yeah. You're living your dreams right now?
Yeah, I do think I'm living my dreams, just because I think sometimes we think that we may see the end of the, like, well, I wouldn't even say that, because I don't really truly believe like there's a destination necessarily. I live every day as if it's, I try my best. Nah, every day I don't. I try my best to live every day as if it's my last. But
yes.
There's times where I can go weeks and not think like that, right? And so I always, something happens. You know, and you're like, okay, let me relax. But to look at my biggest dream right now, or my biggest dream just in the big dream for me, is to live through what God has designed for me.
Yeah.
Meaning to live the destiny that He has for me. And I know some people are like, oh, that's so, religious or whatever they may think that is. But for me, it's like, I don't want to live a life that is not of Him. Because where I am today, I can't say I did this in my own strength. Like, if I share even more moments that were just a hot mess and that was traumatizing that I still have to walk through I've had to walk through, I can't say I did that. And for me, right now where I'm at is where I need to be.
I met you like almost a year ago. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And I say that you are my hero because you're a good example that besides if you have a kid, you can keep going. You can keep traveling, doing your own things, going to concerts, have fun with your friends. And that's amazing. How old are you?
I'm only 29.
I had friends that got pregnant like early in their 20s when they were teenagers. No more dreams, no more fun, and just a mother and a wife. I have to stay home, I have to work, but what is the fun?
Right.
And I see your life right now, you're 29 and you're living.
Yeah.
You're working so hard, you're traveling, you're a mom, you're a good mom, and you're enjoying your life. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, that process has been it's been a journey, and I think that's where what you're seeing is one. I'm kind of more on the other side, so you didn't see the trials where those messages are that my life is over. Because I remember when I was pregnant with Eva, I was 20, and I remember I found out that I was pregnant with her when I was studying abroad in Brazil. And I remember me and my best friend, we were trying to find like pregnancy tests and try to speak Portuguese to try to we go to the pharmacy trying to be on a stick and all that kind of stuff. And it was just, and like every day I took the pregnancy test and the lines just got darker and darker. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely pregnant. And I was just crying on the beach New Year's Eve. And
New Year's Eve, oh my goodness.
Yes, it was, the timing of it was definitely divine disruption. But it was like, it's been a journey to walk through that. So when you say like you see women who kind of like they stop their lives, I went through that too, because I remember I've had many of encounters like that, especially when I had even sophomore year when I was in college. So just to know, like, I'm at a predominantly white campus and having a baby that's not common. That's not a thing. And I remember feeling like I messed up my life, but at the same time, I love this little baby so much, right? And I love this baby so much, and just going through those times, I remember, I was literally chasing her dad. I was doing a lot of things. So I can't say like, yeah, you see me now, but like, girl, I've had to walk through a lot of things. Yeah, there's a story. And I think for me, what you may see different is that I never allowed my circumstances to stop me from going forward. But the message that I always had, what I was sharing with you, is if I don't do it, no one else will do it, right? But that was the way I coped. And coping from that place, it looks like it's strong. It looked like I've overcome so much, and I did, but I still was only being led by my flesh. I was only being led by the enemy telling me that, Chelcie, if you don't do it, no one else will do it. But in the world, that looks good, that looks amazing, but I was still, it was still heavy. My spirit was still heavy in the midst of that. So even when I was going through college and still persevering, I had a heaviness about me that many didn't know. I still struggled a lot. I still was doing things that just wasn't right. And so, but I've always been a good mother because I've always desired that. So that's one thing I live by because I know how that feels to not have that part. And so one thing I've always been grateful for is that God has never not shown me what I need to do with my daughter. But I also am very intentional about that too, and just being intentional about the way I parent my daughter and just love on her, because she's the best thing. And So like for any mother, I would say like who's struggling with the simple fact of, you know, they don't feel like they can't accomplish their dreams. I think a lot of it is just because we have these high expectations of ourselves, and allowing God to show us what He wants for us. And so, yes, I wanted to go to college, but did I invite him into what college to go to? But I've always, maybe it was my mom's prayers, maybe it was just this calling, but I've always allowed God to still do the work in me. I wasn't always there. I wasn't always following Him. So I don't want to come off like this has just been a perfect journey, because it's definitely hasn't. There has been a lot of downfalls, and I haven't always made the best choices as a parent. But at the same time, I would say for any mother who, you know, feels like their life is over, is to really take the time out to know who you are in His image has set me free. Because now I don't have to live from that place of finding comfort, or finding that reinsurance, or like looking for the world, or I don't have to be in those codependent relationships. I don't have to think that I have all the answers. Like, I can do things and be okay with failing, like, because I'm good, like, but everyone doesn't have that. And so I understand that. And so that's why I always encourage people to walk through those things that you know that your spirit is heavy in. I truly find it hard to believe that we don't somewhat know like what we're struggling with, right? But a lot of us may not want to do the work, right? Because when you start doing the work, you feel like you're just drowning yourself. I think a lot of times we put so much on our parents because they are our closest thing to how we see God. Mm-hmm. And so when you realize that, you realize like you have to kind of not necessarily start all over, but really allow yourself to build that relationship with God, because our parents are not perfect people. And like even with my mom, like she has been such a person in my life who has shown me so many things. From, yes, we can say like all the bad things she's done, but this woman has, I am who I am because of her.
So tell me, what are you doing here in Atlanta? When did you arrive here? How was that decision?
Yeah, so
how did you pick this city?
how did I get to Atlanta? Just I guess I can sum it up a little bit. So I graduated from University of Iowa, and so I got a graduate assistantship at Georgia State University. And so me and Eva, we all moved down here, and I actually moved down here with thinking that I was going to be with her father too. And so we all moved down here, and he went overseas or whatever like that. And then I started to live in Atlanta and go to school, and Eva went to a child care center. And so in the midst of that, that's when I still was in that toxic relationship with him, and not, how would I say, it was just a lot of like emotional abuse, I would say.
Yeah.
And messages that I brought from Iowa was that nobody would want to be with me because I have a kid, or everything's gonna be so much harder for me because I have a kid. And they were like those messages of, okay, I have a child, no one's gonna want to be with someone who has a child, or I really wanted my family to work, right? I really wanted that for us. I really wanted that type of relationship for her. But at the same time, the emotional abuse that I didn't realize that I was dealing with, or the codependent relationship that I was in, was keeping me in bondage. Yes, I still was doing the next right thing, right? So I think we have to, just to kind of sum this up, my message was, if I don't do it, no one else will do it. So I still went to school. However, there still were messages that, oh, I'm not worthy of the things that I have, or no man's gonna want to be with me, all those things. So I was staying in a codependent relationship. So yes, it looks good, but still, I'm still dealing with this internally. And so that's why I think a lot of women, they get stuck in that place instead of trying to really sit down and really like, okay, God, show me what you want from me. Okay, I'm gonna walk through this. But it took me a lot of hiccups to get to that place. So don't want to ever discredit that either. But at the same time, the way that I got to Atlanta was going to grad school at Georgia State. And so me and Eva lived here. He moved on and played overseas. And so we finally parted our ways when it came to that relationship, because I just started to see myself in a different light. I didn't have to deal with all the stuff of my family's drama that I was constantly dealing with. I got to just really start over and build a life for me and my daughter, and it's been one of the best things that have ever happened to me, because now I wasn't in that environment. I wasn't responsible for certain things, but I was also empowered to see that my life wasn't over. There's people who do want me as to get with a child, okay? There's things that I can accomplish, and that's where entrepreneurship began, because I wanted to be such a good mommy, and I wanted to be such an involved mommy, that I had to figure out a way to still make money but still provide. So I had like little side jobs to finally starting to train people, being connected with the right people. Like, it was just a lot of things that took place that got me to where I am. And so it's just me being intentional about my relationships, me applying myself, me being a very smart woman, which I for years didn't think I was smart, but your girl is smart, okay? When I realized, raising my daughter, I'm very intentional about reading time. I'm very intentional about just really empowering her, instead of living through, oh, look at me, I'm a single mom, or oh, this is so hard. I shift that energy.
That used to happen with some ladies. It's like, no, you're strong.
But it's hard. It's hard, especially when you don't know who God is. So it's hard, but it's also hard too, because we don't know. Some people, that's the way that they deal with their issues. Then like me, is like, oh heck no, I'm gonna grab hold of it. If anything, I'm gonna control it. So I think sometimes we have to have some type of compassion for people who they just deal with their issues different. And so that's one thing I've learned too, because some people are more like, oh, look at me, I'm the victim. And I in a sense, I still did live from that place. It just wasn't as exposed, maybe. Because in my mind, I still was feeling like it's only me. Why am I the one always struggling? I'm just trying to do the next right thing. Like, why is everything so hard for me? Like, oh my gosh, like I was using credit cards to pay for childcare. To this day, I just literally, I'm gonna say, was it 2 years ago or a year ago, I finally was able to pay that credit card off. I used to like just pay enough to make sure that it didn't bounce, right? And I just remember living, and it was just hard. It was hard going to grad school and to have a child. It was just, I don't wish that on nobody. I remember going to the gym. I used to carry Eva while she was asleep. I actually have a video on my channel. I used to carry her while she was asleep to the gym and go train the women in the morning as she slept on the couch. And I would pack her breakfast, so when she woke up, she'd eat her food in the little lobby area, a stack. You've been in there. The little lobby area. And I'm just grateful, because it's like those days it was hard, but those days also made me who I am.
So do you like this city? Are you happy here?
Oh yes, and I just pray my husband is here, because Jesus, I do not want to move.
What are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm building a bookshelf. I was kidding.
Oh yeah.
No, I would say right now I am really focused on building better systems for my life. So just a practical example, like I said, the bookshelf, organizing my home to work for my routine. So I don't have so much chaos and clutter. And I've been blessed with amazing people. My girl Ais, she is helping me like organize and really to see like things a different way. And I'm a very hands-on, and so it's worked out very good for me. But I'm also in a place of slowing down. And what that means for me, what it looks like, what is hard, is that I may make less money, but I am gonna be more happy. And I'm okay with that.
That's important.
Yes, I'm okay with that. I'm always big on taking care of my home. And for me, if I am anxious, if I'm exhausted and I'm irritable raising my daughter, that is not okay. That's just not. It's not easy being a single mother, but if I need to step back, I will. And that's where I'm at. I will make those type of sacrifices, because again, I've seen the longevity of when you don't take action of something. So the way I was raised, like, you know, a lot of times my parents were just trying to survive. They were in their own world. But long term, the effect that it had on me, Jesus Christ, you know. So I'd rather do this and be broke and happy and intentional, but I'm not even broke. So let me take that back. Limited, okay, or not even that, because I really think this is going to set me free. But anyways, long story short, I am more intentional about my relationships with my body, my daughter, my food, my faith than anything. I'm trying to build a relationship with money too, but that trauma.
It's a process.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now, and just really just being me. One thing I have learned when you build this stuff, don't tighten all the knots, the screws, okay? Because when you got to put stuff in between it, it ain't gonna work. So I have learned that over the years of building millions of things. Oh, it's like a balance beam. Okay, there we go. Thank you guys for joining me on Chelcie Sundays. Make sure that you subscribe and share with a friend. Also, if you have any questions, just ask at the comments below, and have fun today. Be blessed and encouraged and love yourself. See ya.